Your sperm count is 11.
Hello and welcome to episode number 28 of Unrelenting. I am Darren O'Neill. He is Sir Gene, and you had a birthday yesterday. Damn.
Well, getting older, man.
I mean, you get your ARP card?
I refuse to get an ARP card. Those people are evil.
Yeah, they are. They are. There is the conservative version of that. It's something else. There is an alternate ARP for people that hate the politics of ARP.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I mean, do you get like the senior discount when you go out for breakfast? And
I've been getting that since I was about 20.
You do look old. I mean, so there's that.
There is that.
It's the beard.
Yeah, I think that just makes me look old.
The beard is older than you.
I wouldn't say that. That would be a physical impossibility, but
says you.
Uh-huh.
Says you.
But it's not a whole separate thing that just, is glued on,
The beard will go on forever. So did you have a good birthday? What did you do? Did you get, did you have, I know you've been doing the no booze thing. So did you not even crack open one of those really expensive?
I did not drink at all on my birthday. Nope.
Damn.
Iced tea.
Big steak?
No. Did not do a steak. Had sushi.
Ew. And I know I say that because I've never had sushi. You keep telling me I've just not had
your loss.
Yeah. And I understand.
I love the security cameras in here, by the way.
Do you have multiple security cameras?
Yeah. Are you not watching the screen?
No. I mean, I went to my notes. I mean, I've only got 3 monitors.
Notes? Hold on. You have notes? You didn't tell me you were going to do notes. I didn't do any notes.
I always have notes. I mean, mainly like episode 28 for the date and, that. Just I had to pull that up.
Yeah, I don't know what those are. I just rely on you to figure out what episode we're on.
And I had the big reminder. It was like, hey, it was Gene's birthday. I heard about it on the No Agenda show. And you didn't even give this show a nice plug. You should have been like, give us the full ad.
Here we go again. Every time somebody gives some money to some other show, you have to complain about not getting a plug.
Full ad. We want the full ad.
Well, you're more than welcome to buy one.
Welcome to. Well, that was... And I was thinking about
You're in charge of our money anyway. You're the one
I thought it was
figuring out how many shekels are coming in.
Which would actually be a good idea to take the last round and just send it to No Agenda because that's what we do. After the, I'm calling it a hubbub's a little bit extreme, but there was on a recent No Agenda, they were talking about the length of the letters from when people send in the donations.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just thought it would be funny to send in a qualifying note and just be like, hey, you tired of No Agenda not reading your notes? Send your money to unrelenting.show.
That would be a pretty funny note to send. I bet you people would probably get a kick out of that.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that would be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Adam and John might find it to be funny.
Potentially.
Maybe. Or potentially not.
Or
I don't know.
Or that damn Darren O'Neill.
Right. As long as it was a short note, though, I think that would work. As long as it was a very short. Send your money here. We'll take it.
Yeah.
But what did you do special for your birthday then?
I did nothing. Well, I went out to a friend's ranch and looked at his gun collection. And
oh, wow.
I don't know. Kind of hung out.
Sounds like a laid back kind of day.
It was very laid back. It was super laid back. My car battery died, so we had to get a rental car.
Wait, that's no good.
Yeah, well, it's an old battery. I've never replaced it in the car, and my car is now old. And
you should just replace the battery rather than getting a rental car.
Okay, so the battery is a bit tricky to replace in this particular vehicle. And I guess an old battery that sits in a car that isn't driven just dies.
Yes. Oh, that's happened to me multiple times.
It's never happened to me before, but it has now.
which is why we have like the little, there's like a little battery charger, you know, they're like $100 or $150 or something where you can just throw them on and slow charge that thing right back up.
Right. Well, didn't do any good when I was going to drive the car that day. So,
yeah, I mean, it takes like 10 minutes to get it started. I mean, it's way quicker to get a rental car, obviously.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. There's
especially after you've just checked out somebody's gun collection. Was that related? Checking out the gun collection and getting a rental car? Put that in air quotes.
No. I just had to get the rental car to drive out to the compound first.
So you're not carjacking anybody on your birthday. That wasn't like a thrill thing.
No, it was very relaxed. It was just nice and quiet. Walked around the city for a while. It was a perfect day. It was in the probably mid 70s, so it wasn't too hot. So I enjoyed it. It was
perfect birthday weather, and they're coming for your guns.
I just
in
decided
Texas.
like a month ago, you know what? Why am I trying to plan or do stuff when really it's my day to relax?
It's your day to do whatever you want.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, in Texas, looking at guns, that's dangerous right now.
Why?
They're coming for your guns.
Yeah, whatever.
So you don't think that's happening?
No.
I mean, the insane people really believe they can repeal the Second Amendment, which I think is kind of cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do you understand what it takes to get that done?
Yeah.
So anybody that, well, again, the whole journalisming, which I picked up from the Roman guy on Roman TV or whatever, Romanian TV on YouTube. I think it's a great word, journalisming. Because it's like nobody's
journalizing.
Nobody's doing journalisming because if they were, then if you're going to do stories, if you're going to just rant and rave like a bunch of morons on MSNBC, then if you're saying, well, it's time we repeal the Second Amendment, maybe you should explain what that would take. And explain that to your audience. Nobody ever does, which is how they just get people more riled up, because we all know that.
Well, we had to repeal some Supreme Court justices while we're at it.
Yes. Well, that's why we have to, or we have to add
all kinds of things.
We got to get rid of a lot of the stuff. It's just no
Yeah.
bueno. But it would take a whole lot to repeal the Second Amendment. And it's always interesting to me is that the people that want to repeal the Second Amendment are the same ones that do not want tough repercussions for people that commit crimes with guns. I mean, this is
because no, that's consistent. That's totally consistent.
It is
the gun, not the person that commits the crime.
Right. The guns are bad. The guns are bad. And
you really should be looking at the screen right now. It's very pretty.
As they talked about on No Agenda yesterday, there's a lot of other ways to go about mass amounts of carnage. And they talked about car bombs. And that's something that I've brought up for years because I'm Irish. I mean, I didn't grow up there, but I'm well aware of the history.
Making bombs is in your genetics, huh?
It seems like it.
It's in your DNA.
If you know anything about the Troubles in Ireland, you know that car bombs were
the only Troubles in Ireland are the British.
Right. That's right. Give Ireland back to the Irish.
That's right. Been saying that for many years.
This concept that guns are the only way to commit mass amounts of carnage, not true. And okay, maybe the guns are the easiest tool for people to get to, but if they can't get it, they go to the next one. And the next one is just as deadly, if not more deadly.
Yeah.
And less trackable.
We have an advantage here in the United States because we license people at 16 to operate kinetic bombs.
Yes, motor vehicles.
Exactly.
And we talked about that when the guy went into the Christmas parade last year.
Was one guy who wasn't even all that good a driver.
Right. So there's lots of ways to commit mass amounts of carnage. But if you really want to, and this was something that was brought up because 18-year-olds have been able to buy these kind of rifles for the last 60 years. It was brought up, in Texas and elsewhere. But these kind of shootings haven't happened. Well, what changed? Because something had to change.
Yeah,
and
parents suck these days. That's
yes, exactly. And that's exactly what the article pointed to. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I've railed on the same kind of things with parents who don't know what their kids are doing on their cell phones.
Yeah, I pretty much put every parent whose kid is taking antidepressants in prison right now for future crime, because obviously their kid's going to be a mass murderer.
It's going to do something.
If you put somebody who's under 18 on antidepressant medication, you are creating a mass murderer. I'm right there. I'm saying it right now.
And again, they don't want to be tough on crime when people commit crimes because it's only what they're using is the problem, which is why, I don't know, Chicago. I mean, you look at what goes on here, and we've talked about it. Anybody can look up the stats.
I'm not sure that it's a good idea to have a meetup in Chicago. The more you talk about it, the less.
Oh, I would never go into the city itself. No, I mean, I'm not going into the bounds of Chicago. No, I stay in the suburbs. Gibson and
maybe
Oak
we should
Brook.
pick a more neutral location like Kansas City or something.
Kansas City? Oh no, Kansas City. There's a
great mob town.
It's a lot of crime going on in Kansas City too.
Yeah, a lot of crime.
You'd have to go down. I mean, Nashville's crime problems. I mean, this is all. It's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you just have to carry your own weapons so you're safer.
Yeah, which you can't do in Chicago.
Right, because, that was my point on the whole gun thing. For everybody that's like, hey, no, we really think we could remove all of the guns from the United States. We could repeal the Second Amendment, and then we could magically get all of the guns back away from the people that currently have them. To those people, I say, if you can clean out Chicago, if Chicago can go 1 year, I mean, hell, if Chicago could go 1 month without a shooting, I'll actually have the debate with you on whether or not we should try to get rid of guns elsewhere. But you have to get rid of all gun shootings in Chicago for at least a month.
Now, I thought Chicago was a gun-free zone.
Well, it says it is. It's a weird. I haven't followed it to the minutia lately because there was a story about a woman that was carjacked that had a gun and shot the guy. And the article said that she had a legit concealed carry, which I didn't think was even possible within the city of Chicago. So maybe some of those things are moving in that direction, but it's a very gun unfriendly town, whatever the exact law is.
That was my understanding.
Mine too. And I didn't really understand where it was like, well, she had a concealed carry and good thing, because otherwise the guy with the gun might have killed her while getting her car. But I mean, if this again, there's way less crime when everybody is armed. The carjacker,
absolutely.
I think just once. If you're a carjacker, because most carjackers, at least here, and I would think most places, younger kids, 15, 16 seems to be the main age where this is going on. I think you learn pretty quick the first time you open up somebody's car door and you are starting to get shot at. I think that makes you, the next time you think you want to go carjack somebody, you go, maybe I don't want to do that. It's not the amount of guns that's the problem. It is the mentality. It is not holding criminals responsible when they commit crimes. And that should be fairly obvious, but nobody ever talks about that. It's always, we have to get the guns off the street. When is this going to stop? You know when it's going to stop? When you start actually holding criminals responsible for what they do.
Right.
When you see a lot of this stuff, the guys have a rap sheet like 20 pages long, and you're like, wow, nobody saw that coming.
Yeah. Kind of like the guys that Rittenhouse had to defend himself from.
Right. And, again, that was a case where things were not reported fairly either. It's all fairly. Reporting is, it's all just, the narrative we want to push. That's what you get.
Yep.
And then you wonder why there's a problem, because there's way too many morons who read this stuff and go, well, it said it in the paper. Well, not that anybody reads the paper. It said it on Twitter is enough, I guess.
Twitter?
Twitter. Yeah. That thing Musk was going to buy. And now they're saying he was just trying to mess with the price.
Well,
he wants a discount.
I think that there's there's probably a better reason than what the newspapers were saying on whether Musk was buying this or not buying it or what was going on.
Ned suggests we have our meet up in Flint, Michigan because it's totally safe.
Oh, yeah, it should be because you can't drink the water, right?
Oh, there's a lot of problems in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if everybody's really well armed, then everybody's really polite. So that may be the same case.
Yeah.
Everybody just smiles and nods and goes upon their way.
Mm-hmm.
But this is it. This is the world we live in. Everything is racially motivated.
Oh, talk about yourself there. You're in Chicago. I'm not.
Hey, well, you're in Texas, man. There's shootings going on every day.
There's nobody getting shot in Texas. That's all a myth.
I loved, and I mentioned this on my random.
Did I mention the frogs were turning gay?
Yeah, that was Alex Jones brought that out. I actually brought a clip onto Random Thoughts of Joy Reid saying that things are so bad in the United States that Mexico should build the wall to keep themselves safe from all the gun violence in America.
Same side as Trump now, apparently. That's
right.
Nice.
Right. Well, we should at least build the wall because that would be placating everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you go look up the stats, and I did. I know it's very inconvenient for people that are on MSNBC to actually have the ability to go look up the stats. And you look at the homicide rate comparing the United States and Mexico. And in the United States, it was like 4.7 or something per 100,000 people.
Uh-huh.
In Mexico, it was like 27 point something. It's like, you do realize that's like 6 times higher of a murder rate, right, Joy Reid? No, she's a twit.
I think the only people watching that show are people that are commenting about how dumb it is. I don't think anybody actually watches that show for real.
You know, I think there have to be some true believers.
You think?
I mean, I don't know any personally, so although I do know people, friends of my parents who watch things like Morning Joe. So, you know, I there are a few, but I would agree that like the Joy Reids of the world are really good for the Tim Pools and Tucker Carlsons and people that pull those kind of clips all the time.
Exactly.
But I think there has to be a certain amount of people that think that way. I mean, I don't know how many.
No, I don't. I agree. I think there are people that think that way, but I just can't imagine anybody watching that show for real.
No, I would agree. I mean, it's just really bad television to begin with. It's like if it was entertaining, that would be one thing. If you would ever bring an alternative point of view, that would be nice. But bringing on Michael Moore to be like, well, it's about time we do something about guns. Like, I've heard it.
My God.
I've heard it. We've heard it before. Nothing's going to get done because of what have to happen. We did do
something about guns. When Florida first enacted their concealed carry permit laws 30 years ago, or whatever it was, thereabouts, we saw a distinct decrease in the number of homicides in Florida.
But we do see
that shows a lot of states have lowered their gun crime rates by making it easier for citizens to obtain weapons.
Yes, encourage gun ownership.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would be actually looking at the data. That would be believing in science.
If you don't, you give the advantage to the criminal who wants to hurt people.
Well, yeah, because the only people that have guns when no one can have guns are criminals, by definition.
And this school shooting in Texas, the more you read now on this again is where the police get a really bad rap.
As they should.
Yes.
Defund them.
Well,
I've been saying that for years.
I would rather not defund the police, but if I'm funding the police, I want to be funding people that will do their job.
Yeah, private security, not police.
Whichever, it doesn't really matter what you call it. You're funding the people to do the job. And in this case, the answer of, well, you know, there were gunshots going on in this school filled with children, and the cops didn't go in. You know why? Well, because they might have been shot.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What the hell are you talking about?
And yeah, exactly. And this is not an unusual attitude There have been tons of articles and even videos of police walking away from dangerous activities. They got their pensions. They're in the union. They can't get fired. What do they care?
And I understand not making...
The only way to get rid of this mentality is to just stop paying police.
Well, the ones that don't do their job, the ones that show up and refuse to go in.
Doing a job can get hired for private security firms.
Which would then just become the police. So it all is you're kind of getting a circle jerk thing going on there because you're
not
just talking about what
because
it's being
private
called.
security firms don't have unions.
Well, they would eventually because everything gets unionized.
Nope. They're all contractors.
But when you show up at a school and refuse to go in, again, I'm not asking
unionized.
For people
Who's the Michael Moore now?
I'm not asking for people to make a idiotic decision that is going to get you killed, but you can't just stand back and go, we have to wait. We have to wait until we find out more information as you hear pop, pop, pop going on.
Right.
No, your job is to go in and take as many precautions as you can. But when it's a school full of kids and a gunman, well, I don't know.
I thought that there was police inside the school these days in every school.
I don't think in every school. In some, and of course they don't. The same people that want to repeal the Second Amendment are the ones who don't want the police in the school.
Mm-hmm.
Which again,
I don't want them in the school either.
Makes no sense.
I think it's silly for the teachers not to be armed because no one is going to go in and do a school shooting if they know that every teacher's got a gun.
I agree.
And I would include that as part of the qualification test is to just see how accurate you are with that gun before you're hired.
Yeah, if you want to be a teacher, that's
also
part of your job.
Teachers unions, because they promote crappy teachers staying longer. And incidentally, I've been saying this for over 100 years.
At the very least, your pamphlet that you printed out in the 1700s, I've read that a few times and it's great.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not that old.
But it's absolutely true. Teachers, and again, I'm not going to say I would force every teacher because, some people are just so nuts, they shouldn't probably have a gun.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't have anything to do with our kids either, should they?
Well, okay, you're making a really good point there. But I would like to see a majority of the teachers that, at least offer that as an option. That would be a first start for me, a first step for the teachers
that
want
gotta
that.
Be mandatory.
Well,
I think if you can't handle a firearm, how can you handle a child?
Or if you can handle a child with a firearm.
Well,
at what age do we start arming all the children?
Used to be at about 14, 15, and then 16 was for a long time very common. We had firearms classes in schools back then,
which made sense because they're a tool.
I wouldn't go for elementary school, but certainly by high school and even junior high.
Yes, once you understand,
to actually be a good Olympic firearms candidate. You want to get them started early.
Yeah, once you understand what they are, that they're not toys, that they're deadly. And there's an age that comes okay. And I think you're right. Somewhere around high school would make sense.
Firearms don't impair your ability to think.
Are you sure?
Drugs do.
No, but drugs are good.
Yeah. And yet people seem to freak out more about firearms than they do about drugs.
Well, because they don't see drugs as causing a problem. And I know there's plenty of people.
Drugs don't kill people. Firearms kill people.
Right.
What an idiotic thing.
Nobody on drugs or drunk driving a vehicle. No, they've never hurt anybody.
Yeah. Once you look at it after the fact and research starts being done, there's virtually never been a mass shooting that didn't involve drugs. I'm sure there's been one or two, but of the hundreds of mass shootings that we've had, the vast, vast majority of them have included people that are perpetrating the shooting being on medication.
Makes sense. You saw what happened to Roseanne Barr while she just tweeted on Ambien. God forbid, what if she had a gun?
Yeah, exactly.
It alters the state of somebody's
Ambien
brain.
and guns don't mix.
Well, I would see now. There's a bumper sticker.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to limit gun ownership, I think a great criteria is don't let anyone that has taken prescription medications for brain dysfunctions like depression, which includes 90% of the current population of children,
right,
handle a gun for at least a year after they've gotten off those drugs.
Well, this goes back to bad parenting.
It does, absolutely. Bad parenting and bad doctoring. I have, honestly, very little sympathy for either people that prescribe this shit or people that allow their kids to take it.
Well, and I think you're making that choice. I think once you decide to take a medication that is going to alter the way you think, then you're kind of giving up the ability to do some things.
Exactly.
You know, I think in most rational people, I think would say that, which is,
and there are already rules like this for firearms, which basically say that handling a firearm, even with a permit, while intoxicated, is absolutely illegal. Now, I can't remember if it's a felony or misdemeanor, but it could be a low-level felony, frankly.
Well, it's like drinking and driving. I mean, you have a license to drive, but, once you're impaired, you have to be able to go, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. And we had a whole episode that focused on this on my other show.
Wait, you do another show still?
I still do another show, and it's actually growing really well.
Ooh. Well, that's because you brought in another Ben, named Ben.
Yeah, the two Bens definitely made an impact.
The Ben's named
people
Ben.
Like the double Ben.
People
don't know what we're talking about. The
double Ben action.
Yeah,
Sir Gene
my other
Speaks.
show, Sir Gene Speaks.
But now, have you not changed the name yet to like Sir Gene and the two Bens or something like this?
No,
like
I don't
an 80s
because
sitcom.
it's just Sir Gene Speaks with and then whoever.
But it's always the Bens.
Well, it is. But you realize I mostly did that for convenience purposes, right? Just so I can just copy and paste instead of typing.
Yeah, well, I understand. Less work is better.
Yeah,
you have video games to play for the love of Pete.
Well, I mean, that doesn't really count as work, I don't think.
No, probably. But for you, it might. As you try to make your billions in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Somebody,
It
please.
takes a while to make $1 billion.
There's links on Sir Gene Speaks. Please go play with Sir Gene. Get into his world. Get onto his spaceship. Maybe.
If you want to be on a spaceship, this is a good way to do it.
Can somebody hijack your spaceship? Can they make the Kessel run in one of your ships or in under a few parsecs?
There is a thing happening right now that involves that. Yes,
there is a thing happening.
Well, there's an event. There's a show going on in the spaceship game universe for Star
virtual
Citizen.
show.
Well, the game itself is, I guess, virtual, but the show's real.
Is the fun real? It's a virtual show, but the fun is real.
Oh, now they think I'm obstructing a parking space. That's stupid. I hate it when this happens. Okay, fine. I'll back up then.
Is this what you did? Right when you got home after you were out and about yesterday on your birthday, did you just sit around playing this game?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Gonna make the Kessel run. Somebody please help Gene. He's not on mind-altering drugs, but he's a video game addict.
I'm not on any drugs, dude. I don't even drink.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
You're just not, you're high on lemons.
Yeah, lemons and tea. Tea is my one.
Well, so caffeine, there is caffeine in there, so that is a drug,
caffeine
right?
in there. Absolutely. That is totally the case. But that's about the only thing is I'm getting a little bit of caffeine.
Imagine Gene without caffeine.
I need to refuel.
You were the ship.
Yeah, Gene without caffeine is pretty much like this.
There's like a whole new show in there. That's a new title. Gene without.
I used to drink coffee or in particular espresso drinks.
Yeah, and those will give you a boost, a big boost.
A lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
And the last one I had, which is probably a month ago after not having them for many months, I was like, shit, I don't really like the way I feel after having one of these.
You get buzzy. I mean, yeah. I mean, you
do
feel
get buzzy. Yeah, if you're not used to it, you're absolutely getting buzzy. So I was, I'm not even drinking coffee anymore. I'm turning into a Mormon is what I'm currently doing.
Well,
unbeknownst to me.
How many wives do you want?
Well, maybe I'm not turning into a Mormon because I have exactly the number of wives that I want, which is 0. The wives are horribly overrated.
The poor, lonely Mormon, 0 wives.
Yes, and that is an area of, I suppose, difference between my lifestyle. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff that I couldn't imagine that somebody could live without when I was young, like, drinking alcohol and.
Well, it's a part of that culture.
Things. Yeah, you just like, it really doesn't matter. It's just insignificant. Don't really need to. So
the hardest thing seems like for you would be the video games. That's the stress reliever.
I mean, I didn't play video games for probably a decade, and I just got back into them honestly because of a 20-something girlfriend.
Really, that's what got you back into video games.
Yep.
A real girl got you back into so
a real girl got me. Yeah, she was a streamer on Twitch, and I kind of made fun of it, and then I started playing myself. And I was like, "Fuck!"
And now without the girlfriend, you really are playing with yourself.
What's that?
And now that you don't have the girlfriend, you really are playing with yourself.
I am totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the technology is there. That's the one bright thing, I guess, about having really crappy vision.
Way beyond where it was when you and I were in younger days.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I kind of feel lucky that my vision is so crappy. I don't really enjoy I
don't know, man. I mean, yes, you have crap vision and everything, but honestly, that's just can be somewhat remedied by the size of the monitor.
Well, you just keep making them bigger. Yeah.
You just like the fact that you squint at your monitor tells me it's not big enough.
Well, it's not the size of that. It is the fact that the right eye is basically throwing junk. It's mainly just a little bit of light, but it's also, like the white noise static happens a lot ever since the retina got totally screwed up. So even closing that eye, you still see the residual of that.
Have you tried putting the patch on like a real pirate?
Yeah, didn't work.
Really?
I mean, it's the same thing because the eye, for whatever reason, the eye is still sending out the junk.
Even now, I heard that it takes a while for your eye to get used to the patch, so it's not doing that though. I mean, how long did you have the patch on? A couple of months?
No, I didn't go that long, but I mean, I guess I could. That's one way to go about it. Or you just have them scoop the whole eyeball out.
No, that's not good.
No,
that looks gross.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
But
then he looked like Sammy Davis Jr.
Hey, baby, Sammy was cool. The good eye is really not great because it is marred with a lot of floaters. So the problem with floaters are they move into the field. So it makes reading a pain in the ass.
So why can't they do an oil change to the fluid in your eyeball?
That has been talked about. But of course, with any fluid change, then there's the possibility of a retinal detachment.
Because you got to maintain some pressure in there.
Right. That's the joy of all this stuff.
That type of surgery, a fluid change for your eyeball, could be much better performed in the space station.
Probably, yeah. Lack of gravity.
Microgravity, you wouldn't have to worry about any kind of deflationary issues.
That is the joy of it all.
Or eyeballer deformation.
If they could just get you into a chamber there where there's no gravity. Yeah. You can do the work in and out. Boom. Well, that could be a reason for people to go to space. The space tourism could be.
Yeah.
For
space medical tourism. No insurance.
The prices are sky high.
They are sky high. Yeah. It's I think, what is it running? Like $800,000 for a human?
You grew way too high. Yeah.
500,000. I don't know. Somebody can Google it, but it's a good chunk.
That's why you're on the virtual spaceship.
This is much cheaper.
Gene, you're not on like the Blue Orbit or whatever the name
Blue
of it.
Orbit, Blue Origin,
Yeah,
Blue
sure.
Origin.
The Blue Orgasm rocket. That is the
The Blue Penis rocket that
that's it.
that Bezos flies.
Yeah, well, that could be like the new way. That could be like the real
Penis
Mile
ship.
High Club. How many miles you up in space when they go up?
That kind of depends. So the way that space is really traditionally counted is 100 kilometers up,
I mean, we know that there are
which
airplanes
is really not that far.
that will
think about it.
let you go up and do the nasty to become a legitimate, where they won't put you in jail, member of the Mile High Club.
Mhm.
Now, if you could do that into space, I mean, the problem with the Musk and Bezos flights is like they're like 3 minutes long. So you really,
No.
you
Just the Bezos. Musk flights are 4 days.
really,
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
The Musk tourist flights, you have to get comfortable with taking a dump in space in front of other people.
You know, that would not be fun. I mean, do they? Okay,
Well,
So
that
for all the-
depends.
yeah, it depends what you're into. But for all the
Exactly.
beds out there, there's an exit strategy for you. Space toilet is the what the future needs.
Well, they have space toilets.
Well, obviously not.
It's an issue of room and the lack thereof.
I mean, somebody else could hold the bag for you. I don't know how it works.
Oh my God, dude! There's no bags. It's a toilet. It's a vacuum toilet.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you don't want any of that stuff floating around. That's where you
No,
hope
you
the
don't.
vacuum doesn't
You don't.
break.
I mean, honestly, you could certainly get kind of creative on that and just like everyone puts on a kind of a butt plug thing before they leave. And then you could just plug into the toilet and walk around with the holes coming out of your ass. But
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe some people would find that weird or something.
I mean, they have ways to do that. I mean, well, maybe it's a lot
Well,
easier
yeah, you
for,
plug a hose in your ass.
like the catheters, and so you're just constantly going into the
You're thinking of a colostomy bag.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you need to go that far. I mean, the astronauts used to wear diapers. Like all the Apollo astronauts and stuff.
When you
Not
shit
well
in space,
publicized, but yes, they
nobody
were wearing
hears
diapers.
you fart.
Huh?
When you shit in space, nobody hears you fart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The show's taking a different turn.
Yeah. How are you getting these topics, man?
You're playing a video
bizarre.
game about space. I have to turn it off. Any movement is very discombobulating while trying to do a podcast.
Oh, the game just crashed.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Is your character still alive? Is your ship?
Yeah.
Did somebody
the
just
character
steal
will
your
be
ship?
alive. No.
Was a hacker listening to the show decided
Could
screw
be.
Gene?
It's good. You know, hackers exist, I guess,
Screw
Good stuff.
Gene.
and stuff. Let's see if I can get back in. Not yet.
You may have an addiction to video games.
I don't think so.
Well, of course
that's
you
not-
don't think so. This
I
could
gotta
be an
click out.
intervention.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to go to this city right here, which is Orison, which is very pretty, and that's where the show is, the car show.
It's not a real thing.
It's a pretty expensive real thing, all right.
Wow, the Daily Mail, breaking news.
Yeah.
Uvalde gunman was arrested 4 years ago after telling people he planned to shoot up a school once he was a senior in 2022.
Awesome. Yes. Guns
Wow.
are the problem, of course.
This kid planned this for 4 years.
Jesus Christ.
And he spent time, of course, in juvenile correctional facilities.
Yeah. No, must have had model parents, it sounds like.
Yeah, there's no question.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it.
Don't send your kids to public school, people. Homeschool them.
Certainly, if you can,
Yeah, if you don't want them to get killed.
send them. There are private schools you can go to as well.
Yes, but just wait. We'll have our first private school shooting at some point.
Well, I don't doubt there would be a private school shooting, but would it be done by a private school student?
Yeah, they're just as fucked up.
In this case, the guy shot his grandmother or something before running to the school to.
Yeah, and that's not unusual. Wasn't the Kenny Bunkport shooter that did the same thing? He killed his mom first, and then he went to the school.
It's one way to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Bad parenting. Parents don't pay attention to their kids. They put a phone in their hands.
No.
They put a phone in their hands and go, hey, everything's fine.
Well, and drugs in the kids. I have no idea if this is true, but I would bet dollars to donuts that this kid, quote unquote, I guess he's an adult, he's over 18.
Right.
More than likely was on some type of depression medicine as a kid.
Oh, it would seem like if this would be obvious.
It screws with you. It's not good. Not good for anybody. Everybody as a kid had stress and issues. This is how you learn to deal with things. Is when you're a kid, you get into stressful situations, which of course in retrospect seem ridiculously not a big deal. Right. I love these posters in here. Citizens are watching.
Citizens are actually listening, Gene.
Well, it says right here on the poster, citizens.
I can't see your poster movement. I turn it. It can't be done.
I'm not moving. I'm standing still. I'm literally not moving right now. You can look. You can see what I'm talking about.
It's a very scary poster of a hot chick's eye.
Yeah.
Now it's moving around. See, watching that would give me motion sickness. That's why I've never been able to play any of those games. Any of the first person shooters. I tried multiple times.
Motion sick.
Yeah. After like 3 to 5 minutes, I'd be ready to puke. And the worst thing about it was it doesn't stop when you stop playing the game. I mean, it will last for like a half hour afterwards. It's just, I'm wired.
So you have
poorly.
A brain condition.
Obviously. Yeah. The brain's like, wow, I see movement, but I don't feel movement. Right. No good. I mean, it would be fine if it was like, okay, you kind of felt queasy watching the screen, but then you turned it off and everything was fine. But no, it sticks with me for a while.
Closed your eyeballs and it was fine.
Well, yes. When I closed my eyes, the game was a little less enjoyable, but the nauseousness didn't happen.
It'd be more enjoyable at that point.
See, NetNet says certain ones do that to him too. I mean, I've really never tried a whole bunch to determine whether there's a reason for some games being more than others. But it's. Are
you affected by strobe lights?
No, strobe lights, no problem. I used to play the NASCAR stuff all the time, so driving games and stuff, no problem.
Spaceships are kind of like space NASCARs.
Yeah, I could do the flying of the spaceship, but the minute you're walking inside the spaceship, then it would be like, no, that's not good. All of that, I was around at the beginning of the games like Doom, and it was like I just couldn't play them. The only game I could play was, remember when Castle Wolfenstein was still 2D?
Yeah.
That was the last great video game for me.
Okay. And you haven't played like card video games or chess video games or checkers?
Oh, I could do chess. Yeah, I could do that. That's not a problem.
You could do all those.
Like I said, the NASCAR. I could do the sports games. I mean, back when I was into the had two eyes, the PlayStation 2, the NBA game and the MLB game and the NHL game. All those were fine. But just anything that was a shooter, you tried to get into like Grand Theft Auto. No, it was no good.
Huh. Grand Theft Auto was no good.
No, all of that stuff. I mean, I remember really, because it was only a little bit of the first person shooter type style. I remember getting through most of Mafia, the first version of Mafia that came out. And that was a great game. The driving.
I never played that.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. What kind of?
They have like Mafia 6 or something now.
The Mafia. Well, probably. Something Ray Liotta would have liked, man. Dead.
Oh, man. What's with all these dead people?
The keyboardist from Depeche Mode, the drummer from Yes, Ray Liotta.
I didn't know that Ray Liotta did all that.
No, he could have, though. He was that talented.
Yeah.
And I just saw him not long ago was rewatching Just Shoot Me, which was a pretty decent sitcom back in the day.
Yes, that was pretty funny. It was sort of snarky, sarcastic funny.
Yes, which I like. David Spade and, it just, Blush Magazine was where it was set. And Ray Liotta in that series played the love interest for a couple episodes of the daughter in the, what was her name? Gina something? Gina, yeah, I think so. Or there was Nina, which...
Nina was the
Maya.
ex-model chick. Maya
was the daughter. And Ray Liotta just played a guy that was nuts. He played himself, but he was really psychotically happy about Christmas and everything around Christmas. It just exuded joy. So, I mean, that was the first thing I thought of when it was like, Dad, it's like, oh, dude, he seemed like a fun guy.
Yeah. Well, he was pretty good in Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah. Well, he could do those roles really well.
And
of course, because I was really into baseball when it came out, he played Shoeless Joe in the 8 Men Out. No, Field of Dreams was he played Shoeless Joe.
How old was he there?
And Field of Dreams.
Must have been young.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he had to be in his late 20s, I would guess.
Yeah, because he died at 67?
Yeah. I mean, Field of Dreams is a classic movie that I think came out in like the 90, maybe 88, 90, somewhere in there.
No, it was in the 80s.
So yeah, he had to be really young.
That was Kevin Costner and who else? Who was the chick in it?
I don't remember. I know James Earl Jones.
Yeah,
was in there. If you
was
build
Madonna in that one,
he will come. No, it wasn't. In Field of Dreams, it was Kevin Costner was married. I don't remember who his wife was. It wasn't Kevin Costner in Bull Durham where he had Susan Sarandon.
Right.
All these baseball movies, they do kind of.
They
meld.
You kind of blend. Tom Hanks was in that one too, right?
In which one? Not in Field of Dreams.
A baseball movie of some kind.
Oh, he was. Yeah, Tom Hanks was in the one with Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell.
There you go.
There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah.
What was that one? A League of Their Own. That one was.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Negro League.
No, the Women's League. It's a little different. It was.
I went to that museum.
Yes, in Kansas City, baby. That is one place I want to go.
We should go there for our meetup.
I mean, the great Buck O'Neill was well represented.
The great Rush Limbaugh.
The Rush. El Rushba worked for the Royals back in the day.
Yep.
And I was just brought up Rush.
Stomping grounds.
In the latest random thoughts. I mean, because this is the huge story. It's still going on this morning. This whole Tim Anderson, Josh Donaldson thing. And I had to cover that, of course, in random thoughts.
I don't even know who that is.
Josh Donaldson is the third baseman for the Yankees, white. Tim Anderson is the shortstop for the Chicago White Sox, black. And Josh Donaldson called Tim Anderson Jackie in reference to Jackie Robinson. Because
he's a famous skateboarder, I think.
Right. 3 years ago in a Sports Illustrated article, Tim Anderson called. He said, "Sometimes I feel like the new Jackie Robinson of fun." And I, at the time, I thought it was an idiotic statement because anybody comparing yourself to somebody of that stature, Jackie Robinson, the stature in baseball, and maybe without exaggerating, the most influential, the most important person in the game of baseball, just based upon the fact that Jackie Robinson is the only player in Major League Baseball history to have his number 42 retired by every team in Major League Baseball. There is nobody that wears number 42 now because of Jackie Robinson. So, I mean, that is the level that Jackie Robinson is revered. Now, was he the best player? No, but he broke the color barrier. He's remembered for that. A very revered player. So when you come around,
didn't he play baseball in the 1936 Olympics in Germany?
I think you're thinking of somebody that was a runner, but you're in the close time. You're in the close time period. You're in the close time period. But when you want to come out and compare yourself to somebody like that.
Right.
I thought it was hilarious at the time. And again, we know trash talking exists in sports.
Sure.
So, people are going to razz you about it. And I guess now calling him Jackie is a racist thing. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he called himself the new Jackie Robinson of fun. And then the random thoughts I just brought up, this to me. And if somebody can explain to me the difference, that goes beyond just, well, they're black, because that still logically doesn't make sense to me. But if that is going to be the reasoning, that's fine. And I'll just shut up and won't ask anymore. But to me, that's like me saying, hey, Gene, I'm the new Rush Limbaugh, man. And then me running into somebody.
Because you're white. I get it.
You're right. Well, I'm a big fat white guy. And so,
Right.
I'm the new Rush Limbaugh.
You're unique in that.
Yes, very much. There's no big overweight white guys. None. But I said, so now if a black guy, if I ran into podcaster Mo Fax at a meetup and he was like, he heard that and was like, hey, Rush, how is that racist? It's not.
That'd be a compliment, actually.
Yes. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
So, that's the two different ways to look at this Josh Donaldson thing. It's like, well, either one, he was going along with what you said and taking it to heart and being like, hey, Jackie, like, good work. Or it was, yeah, hey, Jackie. And you're taunting the other guy because he compared himself to one of the greatest, most revered players.
That's probably more likely what happened.
I would agree that it seems like it would be more of the jabbing at him a little bit. But how does it make it racist? It's trash talking.
No, it's not. And this is more bullshit redefining words.
Yes.
For convenience sake. Insulting a black person does not entail automatic racism.
No.
You can insult somebody of any race, and it has nothing to do with race. You can also insult somebody using racial distinctions, and in which case it may be racist, but even still, who gives a shit? But simply insulting somebody using their race, or not using their race, but insulting somebody of a different race than you, whatever that race is, doesn't mean that it's racist.
Right.
These
that's
people
equality.
Are idiots. They're redefining words to completely wrong meanings and think that they're right, and they're not.
Yeah, it's like this is actually treating people differently. This is actually what's the dangerous part of this. Trash talking has always gone on in sports. And if you're going to make it so, well, the black guy can't trash talk the white guy and the white guy can't trash talk the black guy, nobody better trash talk the Cuban, then you should probably just segregate
the latest
sports.
thing I heard, and this is from Tim Pool, so I know you're going to love it.
I'd love me some Timmy Pool.
Somebody made the great point that all this sort of accusations of being TERFs and anti-trans really ultimately boils down to men's rights. It's men's rights to be able to compete in women's sports and win and make the women lose. So they've decided on Tim Pool that whenever somebody starts making these arguments that trans people have some kind of special rights, which they don't, that they're going to say, oh, okay, so you're a big men's rights advocate. Okay. And which, of course, is going to trigger the people that are all into saying, hey, a person that was born a man and then put a dress on is, for all practical purposes, no different than a woman. Well, you can say that, but empirically, that's certainly not the case if you check their biology. But also, you're advocating for a man over women.
Well, I mean, you know exactly where this is going. I mean, you're there in this virtual world already.
Yeah.
When somebody creates a robot that can swim and compete, well, and they say it's female, well, you can't argue with that.
Well, sure you could. You could argue with everything.
Well, no, not by this current level of understanding on what makes it okay to be a part of the sport. If the robot represents themselves as a woman, then obviously we're going to be replaced. Humans overall.
Yeah. And it's not a big deal if a woman who wants to dress in men's clothes and feels more comfortable that way competes in men's sports. Because unless there's a sport that really favors small size, probably not going to be a world-class athlete.
Makes sense. I mean, there should be some kind of bar based upon
I've said
strength.
for a long time. Yeah. I've actually said that the antidote to feminism is transsexualism, because what you're doing is you're denying that there is a difference. You're saying it's all in your head. That's all it is. It's just in our head. And all you have to do is just say you are something else and you become that thing.
Well, yes, and you can identify as whatever you want, and that could change on a minute-to-minute basis.
Absolutely. Yep.
Makes sense. Well, they were even talking about that at the Davos. There was a clip I think I heard on
Davos?
On No Agenda.
How is the Davos?
Well, they're like, well, in the future, people will be in this whole virtual world. You'll be marrying, your sex robot, and I'm like,
why would you bury that?
Right? It's okay, exactly. I mean, I don't understand. Wouldn't you want more than one sex robot at that point? Why would you want a commitment? Why would you want to give that sex robot half of your stuff when you when you deactivate it? I don't even understand how it works.
Yeah. I know. Nobody understands how women work.
You're right. Sex robots are way easier to understand than actual women.
They are.
Except the sex robots could possibly kill you. And
the woman couldn't? Okay.
Well, the sex robot, there's really less of a punishment, except for, you deactivate it.
Yeah, the sex robot is at least logical.
True. You don't want to go a little too far.
Uh-huh. Hey, we got to talk about Ricky Gervais.
Well, I know he is he was involved in another one of these comedy specials that people are upset by the joke, because he is a guy. Well, let's just put it this way. Ricky Gervais, not politically correct.
Yeah.
Not bending.
He's a little frumpy British guy with a speech impediment.
Yeah, who's the guy behind The Office? So I'm guessing he has like $14 billion or more.
I think he did okay.
Yeah, I think he did okay too.
Yeah. Made a lot more of The Office he didn't actually produce or star in than the one that he did.
Well, he did produce the one in the United States.
Well, he had a producer title. He didn't really.
Well, it depends if it's his intellectual property, which I think it is. So I think he made quite a bit. And there was just a thing the other day.
You should look at the screen now. There's nothing moving, but it's quite pretty.
It's quite pretty. There was Steve Carell the other day was defending the character of Michael Scott, and rightfully so, as a guy that was, it is still moving. He was just a guy
it's not moving at all.
That was, ignorant when it came down to the world going on around him, but he was not racist. He was not a bad guy.
He was a good guy.
He made a lot of gaffes that would make people cringe, but it's like, again, that does not make you a racist person. If you say the wrong thing, but you don't have the intent of being of being a racist, then you have to draw a line somewhere. And I think he did a really good job with that character of just so many cringeworthy moments that he pulled it off, that you believe that character was not spoofing something, that it was not going for the reaction that, you really believe that character was legit on what they were saying and doing.
Yeah, he was a legit businessman, if you will.
You're a totally legit businessman. You trust.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the specifics of the Ricky Gervais? Because I saw he was in the headlines, but I didn't really read it, although I know he's one of these guys who's like,
well, you
got to let comedy be comedy.
He didn't want to be pussyfooting around.
I mean, he was daring to make jokes that maybe people would find offensive.
He's talking about, in fact, one of his routines that I thought he was talking about jokes and politically incorrect jokes, and that, we missed the shuttle. God damn it.
What do you mean we missed the shuttle? This is
we're walking around here. We collectively, as the group of people watching this, are walking around, which incidentally, we have 0 watchers right now.
Because you're playing video games.
Oh yes, I'm sure that's why. Yes, that's exactly why.
This is an audio podcast where Gene has to get himself a little bit of stimulation.
Well, only one of us is blind.
When did we get to the point to where offending
we're multitasking?
People, well, no,
I don't know what kind of sports you're watching in the background. Don't give me shit.
Where offending people was such a horrible thing. That offending people, there was when I was growing up.
Right now,
I mean, I don't know how old you are, but when I was growing up, we had. I mean, the big bit Dice K was huge.
No, I remember when Andy came out. Yep.
And the whole bit behind Dice was to offend people. There was also the unknown comic at the time that just sang vile.
Dickory Duck.
Right. Well, that was Dice.
Oh.
The unknown comic would do
Andy
these
Kaufman.
songs that was just totally, offensive for the sake of being offensive. When did this stop being allowed and why?
Yeah.
That's the question. I mean, is it a better world when it's like, oh, no, you can't say anything that'll offend me?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what a better question, I think, is when did totalitarianism become the norm? When do our children start aspiring to act totalitarian?
I think over the last 10 years or so. That seems
to be mostly what the kids are into.
And again, bad parenting and the vast majority of teachers in the heavily populated areas are teaching that beyond anything else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's how it happened. Because again, parents are so disconnected. They have no idea what's going on.
Well, it takes two to tango.
Of course. But if you have kids, you need to be interacting and finding out what they're teaching in school. You have to know what's going on, on their devices. These parents that give these kids devices again at like 10 years old are like, hey, go ahead. There was another story of a kid. And, here's a little spoiler out there. If you're on social media as a guy and some random female that you don't know starts sending you nudes of themselves saying, hey, send me some of you. It's a trap. It is not real.
Are you calling out transsexuals for doing that?
No. Why would I? What about transsexuals?
Well, you said it was a trap.
Well, it's a trap.
Trap is a term for somebody that's a male that's really looks like a female.
Oh no, I don't mean it's the actual photos of a female. I mean, they're sending naked photos. I think you can tell what's going on down there.
Yeah.
But it's not that person. It is the scam is to get you to send your naked photo, and then they blackmail you. And there's been multiple kids who have killed themselves lately because they fell for this. And
well, first of all, what kind of idiot sends a naked photo?
I don't know. That's what I can't figure out.
Pic, you find a bit, one that's good online, and you send that.
Yeah, there are plenty, believe it or not. You don't want to go down that road of searching for them, but there are plenty of things you could send.
Yes, check your search.
So yeah,
dick pics.
Do not do that. But yeah, that's my question. And these kids are like high school age, so it's like, how are you so ignorant and so stupid in high school that you fall for this?
Because they didn't have a childhood. They were deprived of a childhood by parents that don't care, that hate their kids.
And they believe the reality is what's going on social media, and it's not. I mean, again, this doesn't seem to happen the other way around because females seem to be way smarter about this stuff. That when somebody's like,
you're so wrong.
Really? You think you can send a bunch of like dick pics to females and be like, hey, send me nudes back, and you're going to get success?
No, but you can send a bunch of pictures of money to females and get those pictures.
Well, okay, at least they have a different strategy.
Hey, I'm a recruiter for Playboy, and we're paying top models in cash right now. Are you interested? Because somebody said you're really hot.
I don't even think it has to be Playboy at this point.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
I mean, I think you could probably
for Facebook. I'm recruiting models for Instagram. Yes, I'm an Instagram rep. I'm recruiting for Instagram, and I saw your image on there, and you looked really hot, and we think that you could be one of our paid models.
It doesn't even have to be that. I think it's easy as now.
Well, you're an expert in this shit. I'm not. You follow young women on Instagram. I don't. So.
Well, I have worked with multiple Playboy Playmates back in the day. So, I mean, I know the mentality of what's going on here. And I think that you could have a...
How do we get a Playboy bunny?
How do we get... No, that's harder to do.
Oh, I thought that's what you're going to explain.
No, that was easy enough to get involved with doing websites back in the day because it was early on in the game and, I worked cheap and I was good. So that all was fine. But
hold on. You're saying Playboy models were giving you money?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you just went up a little bit in my book.
You're like, you figured out
a step forward.
This is the biggest scam in the... So it's like, wait a minute. You were interacting with Playboy Playmates and they were paying you. Yeah, I mean, there were like 3 or 4 that you would call the house at random times. I mean, the wife loved it. Of course, she was like, if you think you can get that, go ahead. And,
Really? Your wife was going for a threesome at that point? Huh?
No, that would have been good.
Wow.
But that didn't quite happen. But
that's too bad.
I think the mentality today, because of things like OnlyFans, I think if you find an attractive girl online and just, message like, hey, I'd really like to see you naked. I'll send you $1,000 for 3 photos. I bet you that would work more times than not. I mean, I'm not saying it would work.
I think that would work a lot of time.
Right. So it's like, I don't even think you have to play the game of, faking it. But it's just like, I've got money. You've got a camera. What do you say?
Yeah. I can Venmo you. Probably doesn't even take $1,000 for that.
Well, and this is where you're at because of things like OnlyFans. This has all been normalized. And it's like, the question is that really a good thing that it's become normalized for people to trade on that? It's like, I don't really care. It's like, I think
why not?
Adults should be able to do what they want to do.
Well, yeah. But I think more importantly, the idea that there's something wrong with a beautiful looking human body is...
Well, that's only the really uggos that are telling you that, you understand.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the uggos can go screw themselves because the female... I'm not even going to be sexist. The human body, when it's in good shape and proportioned appropriately, is nothing to be ashamed of. And whatever the old-timey religions tell you is bullshit. There's nothing wrong with having your body be more visible.
Well, in the art world, going back
Playboy
thousands
models.
of years, features nudes. So, I mean, this isn't anything.
Yeah, it's because it's both convenient and it's a good way to get laid by the painter.
Right. You're like, hey, baby, I'd love to paint you.
Hey, photography doesn't exist yet, but I have a special skill. I can actually make a painting of you.
Right.
But
now,
of course, you'll have to be nude in that painting. But, the important part is you'll have something that other people will have a copy of you. How cool would that be? You want to be famous, don't you?
Everybody wants to be famous.
Yeah. So I think that's why most of those women modeled nude. It was because they wanted to be famous back in the 1680s.
And this knee-jerk reaction of what Victoria's Secret is doing, and there was another one of these big companies.
What are they doing?
I just saw.
The fat chicks?
Yes. And there was just a story on that, how one of these other clothing companies that went that route of where like, hey, we're going to be like ultra inclusive, and we're going to make sizes from like super duper small to like super duper large.
Yeah.
And they started pushing that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden their sales flopped.
Right.
It's like there is nothing wrong with having your lane. I mean, I've always been big and tall, and I know it's easier now, but growing up there were special places you went because when you're 6'6",
yeah, right at the Dangerfield store.
You got to go and you got to get some respect, and you go and you know
the hulking store.
I mean, I remember going to like the shoe store, and it was like, oh, size 15. No, we don't.
That's a size?
Yes, we have to special order that shit. Now I can go on Amazon or Zappos, which is part of Amazon now. Or you can go on a vast majority of
And you could even get all those, female clothes in your size.
Yeah, they exist. But that's not. I wouldn't spend all my marketing budget trying to get me to buy a dress in my size, though.
No,
it didn't seem like it was good for the company's bottom line. Stay in your lane. It's okay. It's okay to admit that people still want to see attractive people. You look at Instagram, you can figure it out. I bet you if you look at the most followed people on Instagram overall,
they're attractive.
They're attractive. I know that's some cutting edge statement here.
Well, attractive is just simply saying that a greater number of other people want to look at you.
Correct.
So it changes over time.
Correct.
Because what used to be attractive, during Botticelli's time.
Yeah, you were big in those days.
Still big in the current days.
Yes, all true.
But back in those times, the ultimate beauty of a woman was somebody that's got a couple extra pounds on her, because most women were,
because she wouldn't die during the winter famine.
There was no food,
right? That was it. You're like, you'll be around in the spring. That's good. You'll be able to pull that. What do you call it? The horses they pull, you'll be able to pull the plow. Yeah,
pull the plow. Yes, there you go.
Very important. Very important.
The plow pulling.
Yes,
that sounds like my impression of sports.
You get plowed, and then you pull the plow, and then you're just all around.
Yeah,
all around
it's
works.
It's important to get plowed. Absolutely.
Yeah. But
man, this is pretty.
You and your space games.
Not just space games, but certainly yes, this particular space game is very good.
But you were speaking of Ricky Gervais back about 30 minutes ago.
I did, I think, didn't I?
You never said what you were bringing him up. We talked about Michael Scott.
Well, it was the fact that he has a special on, which is
it a Netflix thing, or where is this one at?
Yeah, it's Netflix, where he basically in a big chunk of the special, the topic is how the woke culture is completely killing off comedy,
and it's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what the guy from Monty Python said. Cleese, he said the same thing. Because you're not allowing, you're making people second guess every word that they use. And for whatever reason, again, we went from a society that had a bit of a thicker skin where I think everybody was happier, or at least a vast majority of people were happier.
Or at least the people that weren't being made fun of were happier, for sure.
Well, but everybody was being made fun of. It's just a question of how you deal with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is the issue. I mean, and one big health karma to our buddy Harry Hamster, who had multiple strokes, spent 18 days in the ICU, just got out. So glad he's still out there and kicking. But we know he triggered Sir Bemrose, and he tried to trigger me at one point, and I was just like, sure, dude. I know I suck. And there's ways to diffuse this. And this is, I think, what we're missing. In the Tim Anderson, Josh Donaldson story, the same thing. He calls you Jackie. Well, there's a lot of different ways you can diffuse that situation. Maybe
the other guy thought that he was calling him a female name. And
maybe. Right.
I was like, who are you calling Jackie?
Which, I mean, I want to.
Cracker?
Yeah, I want to rewatch Scrubs. One of my favorite shows. I've watched it 2 or 3 times over the years. And one of the best recurring bits was the lead doctor, who is played by John McGinley, is it? Just a funny guy. He was the one in Office Space.
Character actor.
Yes. And it was that he would call the main character, the one played by Zach Braff, would always call him a different female's name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could do that in a television show on TV today.
No, you'd have to stick with one.
And even then, I don't know. It's just, but why? I mean, like you said, we learned as kids by dealing with this kind of stuff, how to deal with it, how not to go into a fetal position because of it, and how to come out stronger on the other side.
We have a whole generation that is missing this part of education.
Right, because you do come out stronger.
For learning things that prepare you for being an adult in a relatively safe environment, not a completely safe environment. What that means is if you fall off a tree and you break your arm as a kid, the arm will heal magically within a month. You do that as an adult, it'll take 2 years.
Yeah, you want to learn these lessons early.
You want to, kids fight each other, but they don't have sufficient enough strength to cause real damage.
Right.
This is what play is. Play is doing things in a very light fashion that you need to learn how to do or avoid having other people do to you as an adult. And part of that is absolutely getting teased, getting bullied. These are all positive things that happen to you as a kid that teach you that things that make you feel bad have zero consequence.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you feel bad. It doesn't actually impact you. And when you've learned that lesson, when you've been teased enough to not give a shit about it enough times, or bullied or whatever, now you can move on to being an adult, and you have some cretin do something to you as an adult that makes you feel bad. But since you practiced as a kid to not let it affect you, it doesn't affect you as an adult.
And if you don't have that experience,
then you're going to experience it for the first time as an adult and have a very negative reaction, whether that means falling into depression, whether that means committing suicide, whether that means going off on a rampage and killing a bunch of people.
Right.
But whatever it is, you're lacking the practice of that type of event as a kid, and that's leading you to now overreact as an adult.
And that's what we're seeing in this shooter, in the Texas shooting. That's the story. He was bullied. The other story we just brought up of the kid that was confused because a alleged girl sent him a nude picture and he sent it back and then he killed himself. These are the extreme reactions we're getting because we are no longer teaching kids that not everybody gets a trophy. Yep. Not everybody gets to screw Adriana Lima. I mean, not everybody.
Mm.
Still waiting, but
still waiting.
Still time.
Yeah. She's on the list for you.
You need to be taught. Yeah, Adriana Lima. Yeah, no doubt.
That's a pass.
I would hope so. But even if it's not, it's like, well, then you go. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
it's not like my wife is unaware. I mean, she just bought me an art book of Alessandra Ambrosio. It was right up there.
Book.
Yes, art.
Okay.
Yeah, a art book, photography. Big coffee table kind of book.
Yes.
Which, nice.
I had one of those.
A coffee table or a book?
Coffee table art book of nude photos that I published.
Oh, well, see, you publish. You are the artiste.
Yeah. Used to be. Not anymore.
Wait, no. I mean, once you're an artist, you're always an artist.
No, you hopefully grow out of it.
Is that what I thought? You still have the skill, though. Do you not feel like an artist?
I mean, you really don't. You have to be living in a pretty miserable life to be good at art.
Does the fact that technology now allows pretty much any moron who wants to buy a device that produces just as good images that you had to do?
No. The actual art is in knowing what to shoot.
What to shoot.
How to make it look a certain way. It's not in having equipment.
The vibe of it. I mean, there's some very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if I haven't, I'll have to dig out. I mean, it still exists somewhere, I'm sure, as a PDF file, but maybe I'll dig out this. It was a whole series of black and white, basically statue photographs. So I had models get in the pose of statues, like Greek or Roman statues. And then,
trying to recreate that vibe. Trying to recreate that vibe.
Yeah, and it looks pretty good in black and white, especially because you get the flatter skins, and well,
it's more dramatic in black and white.
It is definitely more dramatic. It's more contrasty, but yeah, it was quite good. I did a lot of shoots. I had Yeah, actually, like, made money selling fine art stuff.
That was back before you were a totally legitimate businessman?
Not really.
Somewhere
I was always a totally legitimate businessman. I was just happened to be one that also sold art.
The stuff you can do now with the filters and the programs like Photoshop.
Oh, yeah, it's horrible.
I was looking at some of the latest releases on what can be done, because I love this kind of stuff, especially when doing the no agenda art during their shows, because a lot of times you want to get a vibe and you don't have much time. But I saw one where they took a photo, which was like a park bench and a bunch of leaves on the ground. But it looked like a very boring photo with like a path going back behind it. And it was a very one-dimensional. If you would have seen it, it's like anybody could have taken this with their cell phone. And then they added in all of this like dramatic lighting that looked like it was coming through the trees and just hitting the bench just right. And it made a very dynamic looking image, which again shows that so much of the stuff.
There's absolutely the filtering, and a lot of it is AI based at this point, really is gone to the next level.
Oh yeah.
The stuff that would be very difficult to do traditional methods is much easier to do, but you still don't really know, well, unless you learn, obviously, but most people don't really have an eye for what makes a good shot.
Right. Where you put things in, the perspective, yeah, there is.
And that's why we have so many images right now where it's just basically bobbleheads.
Yes.
It's shot at the level of the head with a wide angle lens. And, you have a head and maybe one arm and then a small body dangling underneath.
You can stitch it together. I mean, come on, they can do anything.
Yeah. While you can certainly create interesting, creative photos that way, it's not really necessarily artistic.
True.
Well, I want to see what time the big ship is going to fly here.
The world is
Bengal flyby in progress at Bajini, and the Javelin tour is open for another 17 minutes at Secport C. Oh, okay.
Gene lives in a completely different world. Everybody knows that. Although I guess, when you're in the heart of Moscow, I guess you don't want to be out on the streets right now. You just want to hide inside. I mean, you didn't.
Austin, goddammit.
Oh, Austin. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were in Moscow this week.
No.
Austin. That's good. That's good. We do have a couple of people to thank for this week's show, which,
well, look at that.
After last week, I think Widow Garrett felt sorry for us. And we appreciate that. She came in with a $25 donation.
Holy cow. Look at that.
It was right after I made fun of our show for last show getting $3.33.
That was pretty good, though. $3.33.
Compared to what a lot of shows get, $3.33 an episode, that's like massive amounts of money. And we do realize that. I mean, Gene and I are both well aware that 99% of podcasts never see a penny.
Not a penny.
So it is always an honor.
But we are definitely professionals.
Well, this is true. And we hear this a lot, even just the overall sound of the podcast. Somebody just listened to a Planet Rage for the first time, and the reaction was
commented about it. Yeah,
that the audio quality is good, and it's the same audio quality we have going on here. It's and it's comparatively to a lot of other shows. Yeah, once you start going down those lines of the podcast, if you just randomly go to podcastindex.org and start listening to podcasts, you hear a lot that don't sound great.
Oh, there's a lot of bad podcasts out there.
So, I mean, getting the audio to sound good is a huge step. Then you have to have good content. I mean, we're still working on that. But
yeah, I think we gave up on that a while ago, actually.
No, I think this is better content. I do.
Do you?
I do. I mean, because, you could come in to a show and be like, well, here's 5, tech things that happen. There's a lot of tech shows that are out there. You can come in with, well, here's the top news stories, and there's a lot of people covering that. Politics, a lot of people are covering that. I don't know. I think this is my favorite format. I think this is the winning format. I don't know if the world agrees with me.
Not a real topic and not really an agenda.
Right. I think that is my favorite way to go. But
I would even say we probably have less agenda than shows calling themselves no agenda.
Yes, I mean, we
literally don't know what we're going to, well, at least one of us doesn't know what he's going to talk about 5 seconds before it comes out of his mouth.
We have no agenda.
Yeah, we don't even know what an agenda is.
Yeah.
We're like, what's that?
We're just, no.
Oh, hey, we had like an actual human commenting something. Frame rate is terrible.
Yes, at the game, I noticed that as well. You were a little bit choppy, but it might just be,
really?
Might be StreamYard.
My frame rate is really good.
Oh, yeah,
so if it's not showing up, it's definitely because of the StreamYard thing.
It is the streaming. So thank you, Widow Garrett, for the 25. And thanks to Sir Sean of the Allegheny Valley, who came in with his $25 monthly donation. It is very much appreciated. We are a value for value of some kind of value podcast. So,
well, we're in an entertainment podcast at this point, I think.
If you want to help support the show, you can go to unrelenting.show. It is very much appreciated. And I do know we had some sats coming.
It's .com, but it's not .com, is it?
No, it's .show.
Oops.
And this is why
somebody to donate at .com.
Well, somebody's got some money, and it wasn't us. Somebody boosted my random thoughts, 50,000
nice.
sats. I was like, damn, nice.
How much?
50,000 sats.
Holy shit, that's like real money.
It's like $15 or so, I think it was.
Yeah, or something. It
was much appreciated.
Bitcoin dropped in price a lot, so it's probably more like $5.
I know. But I've been watching that closely. My Cardano, which was worth like 2,200, is now worth like 900. Yeah. But I told you, I got it off of Coinbase, so I feel good about that. And it's just kind of a set it and forget it, just kind of leave it and see what happens. I'm not quite in your camp yet where every week or month I'm like, hey, let's add a little more. But,
I just do it monthly.
But, it goes up, it goes down. It's either going to be a winning move or a non-winning move, but so is everything. I mean, you look at what's going on in the stock market, you look at what is going on in the well, I haven't looked lately. What's gold? What's gold and silver? Are they popping or going down? Somebody will know. Idea. Maybe somebody in the troll room will know. I know Blitzed and a few of these other guys follow that kind of stuff. But it's like everything has been going down, and that just leads you to believe that
ruble.
it'll start going up. The ruble, it's still solid.
Yeah, it's hitting new records every week.
If everybody would have just listened to you, Gene, and bought rubles.
I don't provide financial advice, but I did tell people what I was doing.
That's exactly what Bill O'Reilly always says. I can't give you financial advice. I can tell you what I'm doing, but I can't tell you what to do.
Yep.
If you want to follow along, I mean, that's all up to you. Yeah.
Yep.
And you got to, everything is a gamble. Waking up in the morning is a gamble.
That's absolutely right.
You never know what's going to go on. That's the beauty. It's like this show. You never know what's going to go on.
No.
You never know what you're going to get.
Or what time I'll show up.
Right. It's always like, it's a 9 a.m. start, Gene. Come on. I know you're the one that wants the early start.
I think it was always 9-ish start.
That people don't go with 9-ish. Although it is interesting.
People don't go with the live show anyway. They're just downloading it.
A lot of people download.
A handful of people that.
It's very much like No Agenda. We have 60 people live on the stream right now.
Yeah, 60 people listening out of the thousands or hundreds of thousands that listen live or not live.
Okay,
later.
Thousands you had me, hundreds of thousands. Okay. I want to see the new stats.
Well,
and if there are hundreds of thousands, then I'll be like,
over the course of a year, if we add them all up, maybe
donate. If there's hundreds of thousands, donate. Yeah. Support the show.
Although there's no point. You might as well not even bother.
Gold was up bigger in March. Silver is tanking, according to NetNet, which is always interesting when those don't.
Interesting to me, yeah, because silver took a huge tank when the photo industry went digital.
Ooh.
That was the single biggest use of silver.
Yeah, I could see that. The processing.
And gold is, people think it's like valuable because people are buying it up. Honestly, the increase in electronics over the last 30 years was a large contributor to the price of gold.
Well, yeah, because you need those precious metals to make these devices.
Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if it'd be worth checking lithium, because for a while there, lithium looked like it was up 800%.
Damn.
Yeah, that would have been a very good one.
How many people listening, do you think, have no idea that you used to take a photo with a camera onto film, take that film into someplace to get developed, wait. I mean, we got it down to a great science of like an hour or less, but before that, it was like you waited days, if not a week, to get your photo back to see if you actually took a good photograph. And
they can ruin it. I've had some ruined that way.
True, in the processing stage.
Yeah, they did the wrong process.
That was the beauty of photography when we were youngins.
It was horrible though.
Oh, of course it was.
I couldn't wait to get into digital. I was one of those people that was like, give me the digital. There's nothing nostalgic to me about all the chemical crap. I did it for a long time, and it was never enjoyable. The digital format is much better, I think.
Well, yeah, it's not enjoyable to deal with it on a regular basis. I understand the nostalgia part of that, and I think it's really cool, which I think is one of the reasons why I like listening to music on vinyl.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all.
Exactly. But it is because I'm amazed that you can take this vinyl disc, run a needle across it, and music of any quality comes out. And good vinyl still sounds really
You're amazed
good.
by that.
It is. But it's a technology that's been around for 50, 60, 70 years now.
Probably pushing 100.
No, not the LP. The LP was in Sinatra's time. So, I mean, it's...
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Oh, LP. Okay.
Yes.
Long play.
Yes.
Sure. 78s have been around forever. It's the same technology.
Yes. And, well, 78s don't sound quite as good. They never got the fidelity on those. But there is also something, that's why there's filters that can make your current audio file sound like a 78, because people like that, and, where you can barely, it's a vibe, it's a concept. But the LPs, the fact that this is high quality sound that they basically can bake into a little platter, it's kind of impressive. And I love even
more impressive when they did it on the CD.
Yes. Well, the technology is much easier to understand, I think, in the compact
CD
disc.
is literally the same thing as a record. It's just that you have a laser instead of a physical needle.
Well, it is converting it into and I will say that the more you raise that bit rate, the more room you give it, the more samples you're taking, the more natural it sounds.
Yeah.
The CD has always been a better representation, being that every record that gets pressed is not going to sound exactly the same, where every CD that's pressed, it doesn't matter which one of those copies you get, it's going to sound exactly the same. So CDs have a ton of advantages to them.
No, not the least of which is it doesn't degrade every time you listen to it.
Well, that's true too. Now, if you have a decent turntable with a tracking weight that's set properly, you should be able to play albums 1,000+ times without degrading. Most people don't have that. So if you have an old cartridge or an old, a needle that's wearing out, if you have one of these like Crosley turntables that's putting like 8,000 grams of force down on the vinyl itself, then you play the album like 3 times and then it's shot. But that's something where people have to learn when you get into vinyl, it's interesting. I know there's a decent amount of people that collect the vinyl records, but never open them or play them. So it's
that makes way more sense to me.
It's like baseball cards. That's no different than, I'm getting something. That's the one thing that vinyl has going for it, is the limited production. There are only so many copies out there, where digital, unlimited. And some of the vinyl is, like I said, the Taylor Swift stuff I have, I'm so if I'm not like the anal retentive completist, some of the vinyl that I bought for like $50 is selling for over 1,000. And although I kind of see that as the offset of what's happened to my Bitcoin and Cardano. So it's a wash, really. I should have
I would think it's much smarter to have LPs than Cardanos.
Physical Yes. I mean, I think that maybe is where we're going into at this point is having the physical stuff. As you've talked about, when the whole system crashes, I can still trade somebody that LP for something.
Some idiot, but yeah.
Uh-huh. Well,
speaking of LPs, I was at the Walmarts the other day.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a new car battery.
Did you get it in? Did you had to go in your rental car to Walmart to get a new battery? Did you get the new battery put in?
I had to jumpstart my car to drive to Walmart, where once I turned the car off, it wasn't moving.
Oh, so the battery was totally... it
was completely shot. Yeah, totally shot. But they put it in for me in Walmart, so I had some time to walk around, and I took some photos and posted them on...
of the people of Walmart? I know there is a site.
Yeah, there is a site. No, I was posting the woke books of Walmart.
Ooh.
Yes, there were three titles that were right next to each other. One was on climate change, one was on the plague, and one was on area, what is it, 54?
Was it the
5, 6? Area something. And
the alien area.
Yeah. Something like that. But it's basically, if you have a sense of humor, you'd think of it as like, oh yeah, this section is for fantasies and myths. And because they had a picture of a sad polar bear on the climate change book.
Area 51, this is DigiGuru.
51, yeah, there you go. We don't even know.
I thought it was Area 69, 33, I don't know. Hike?
That's an area that you, I'm sure, are very familiar with Taylor Swift on, but
sure.
Not the one in Vegas, though.
Not the one in Vegas.
Yeah. And how tall is she? Like 6'6"?
Close, 5'11".
Yeah.
I mean, if you put heels on her, I mean, then you're in good shape.
Well, you need to then put a butt on her and you'll be in even better shape.
When we went into Meijer, our grocery store the other day, the top of their book selection, I mean, they don't have a lot, but was Bill O'Reilly's Killing the Killers, baby.
The grocery store has a book selection and the O'Reilly's on top.
Yeah.
Like that could be a show title right there.
That's a grocery store, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, Meijer has everything. I mean, they're mainly groceries, but they've got, a little bit of clothing and shoes and jewelry and electronics. You can buy televisions. You can buy, books. You can buy toys.
That sounds like HEB.
Yeah, but it's a little bit of everything. It's a weird
television.
It's a weird concept. It is. It is a weird concept. I'll give you that. That's where we bought our new Keurig machine from. And I'm telling you, that new machine is awesome. The Keurig. The coffee machine.
The coffee.
Yeah.
Machine. Okay.
The new Keurig Supreme.
Ooh.
It actually, the coffee tastes different, which is something that I'm noticing.
Does it make it supreme?
Yes, it does. It makes it supreme, where it didn't matter like what we were buying, except for the Meijer Michigan cherry coffee. That always really had a cherry taste. But otherwise, it didn't matter if you put in like the Cuban coffee, or if like the Dark Magic, or if you put in a French roast, or if you put in the Newman's Own Organic. They all tasted kind of the same with the old machine.
That's horrible.
I know. Now you can actually tell the difference, which I'm like, this is a plus. This is nice.
Well, there's two possibilities there. One is it uses a higher pressure, which gets more essential oils out of the whatever coffee product is in there. The other one is that it froths it more and oxidizes the coffee more, which would definitely change the flavor as well.
Their biggest change was 1 needle to 5 needles. So instead of 1 needle dispensing water,
it more. Okay, so it's not any higher pressure; it's actually lower pressure but more froth.
Yes, and it does seem to take a little bit longer, which makes sense. Which makes total sense, but the end product is better, so that I can appreciate that. I need my caffeine in one way or the other.
I can't.
You just go with tea.
I can't drink coffee that comes out of a spigot like that.
I also tried the reusable K-Cup that they sell. I've had those for the old machines, but of course,
I've seen those in the store. Yeah,
the new machines, 5 needles, so you need a different K-Cup with the holes for 5 needles. And here's my question to you and to the troll room. I just got this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And what Amazon sent me was a retail box of 6 of the units inside. I ordered 1 unit. They sent me 6.
That I've heard of people having that happen.
Do we send those back to Amazon?
I've heard of people not sending those back.
Do they even want those back? Will they take them back? And I will
They'll
say,
take them back. Yeah.
I was going to, and I stopped because I ordered this, and it was it had to be Monday when I was doing Planet Rage with Larry, because I ordered something else and I ordered that.
Are you guys still doing that show? Okay.
Yes, Planet Rage going strong.
Hmm.
And
I haven't listened to an episode after that one time where I tried listening. I couldn't hear anything.
It was too much bass. Too much bass
It was
slamming.
just a big rumble, and that was about all I heard.
It's go put it in the background. It'll sound like a spaceship. It'll work out that way for you.
Oh, so it's more of a soundtrack kind of podcast.
Right. And I ordered this right before we started Planet Rage, and it was here like when Planet Rage was done. So I mean, Amazon got it here like instantaneously. So and I'm like, oh, well, they sent me 6 instead of 1. And when I ordered it, the thing was like 12 something.
Yeah.
And by the time I went to go look, like, oh, they sent me 6, go to a refund. It was down to $7. And I'm like,
oops,
they won't. Amazon will not adjust prices anymore.
No.
And it's like, well, I kind of feel like, screw you then. And I've had this happen.
So either you send back the 6 so you could buy 1 cheaper.
Right. Kind of. But this happened.
What if you send back 1 and bought it cheaper?
You know, that's true. I could send back 1, get the money, the full money back. And wow, that's evil. I like that.
Yeah, I know. I have that effect on people.
But this, when I ordered my most recent pair of headphones, they had not even arrived yet. And the price dropped by like $40 or $50.
Oof. What'd you get again?
The blue headphones. They're the planar magnetic ones, which they're pretty. I have to get them back on. I haven't listened to them in a couple of weeks.
What are you using right now?
Right now, I use some Audio Technica monitors that I've been using for years. The AT or the AT50, something like that.
A while ago, I bought these like little speakers. And right now, I notice when I have them plugged in, all I hear is a fucking 60 hertz tone.
No, the hum's not a good one. That is not a good hum.
I'm like, oh, God damn it. How?
But
sucks.
But with the headphones, Amazon would not do a price match. So it's like, okay, you order the thing, whatever they were like $50 cheaper, like 2 days later, before they even arrived. They wouldn't do a price match.
To refund them, just return them. Then.
I did. Well, I canceled that and reordered it. Yeah. But it's like, how is that easier to Amazon to actually cancel an order that's in play?
Yeah.
And then it's like, it doesn't make sense. Your system should be smart enough to be like, oh, if the price drops and the person notices before it's delivered, you should adjust the price.
Well, okay, I can explain that. So Amazon will sell the same product from multiple vendors.
Well, this is through Amazon. This wasn't a third party.
So was it Amazon Direct?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind.
So that's, I mean, otherwise I can't complain if it's like Amazon selling through, all the other people. But I try to stick to shipped by Amazon and sold by Amazon, if at all possible, because I've had way too many in the past where if it's handled by Amazon, but from a different seller, there's still been stuff that's like, this is not legit. Yeah, this isn't knockoff. The only way to totally be sure, and even then, I don't know if you can be totally sure, but the safest case is sold by Amazon and shipped by Amazon.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's probably.
So what else you doing this weekend? Big Memorial Day? You just sitting around playing video games? Well, I know the Podfather wanted to see you. I mean, he wanted to get some Gene action in.
Who?
The Podfather. He talked about that a few times yesterday during No Agenda.
We got to meet up, but we haven't met up for a long time.
He wants the full Sir Gene experience. He starts giving your theories on the show, and I'm like, wow, somebody does listen to Gene's theories. He was asking about the. He thought it was great with the when he asked you, do the Russians really hate indoor toilets or whatever? And you're like, what's a toilet?
Yeah.
Like, what? No.
That seemed like the appropriate thing to say.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't take a long time, but I mean, it did take me like 3 days after starting to talk to you to understand your sense of humor. And it's just like, oh, yeah, it's just Gene. Yeah, don't necessarily believe what's being said.
I know. Well, I grew up watching a lot of British comedy,
which is very snarky.
Yeah, it's all understated, sort of sarcastic, and
delivered in a way where you're not trying to sound like you're wanting to be funny.
Right.
That's the trick.
You have to do it with a relatively deadpan.
Yeah, the monotone sells it.
Tone. And so I think that this is why I've had to learn to put a smiley face on a lot
when
of
you're
my
firing
tweets
people.
And posts. Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm sorry to let you know you've been terminated.
Yeah, because people don't really understand. Game might have crashed.
Paddles.
The game crashed. Fun times.
Wow. Now we see this is why it's in beta.
Twice in one episode we had a little crash.
No, I'm sorry. That game's still in alpha, isn't it?
It is an alpha. It's not even a beta. We'll just go to a regular Talking Heads then. It is. You're absolutely right. It's been an alpha for 10 years, which is great.
Well, when people will send you money and you can stay in alpha for 10 years, that's great. I mean, it's not as good as getting together with Playmates and having them send you money, but it's close.
It's pretty close. They have now raised, aka sold. I think it's up to 413 million.
That's fairly impressive
like
for
pre-release.
A game of this stature. Yeah. Now the company that makes this game, is this what they're known for? Do they have something big before this?
This is their only product.
So it's a brand new product and they got
it was a Kickstarter. It started as a Kickstarter.
Wow. So this is definitely a case of where that worked quite well.
Yeah, well, maybe.
I mean, they got the money, whether they'll actually ever give you a real product.
I believe the Kickstarter was for like 16 million or something. So it was a large Kickstarter, big enough to get them to create the game. And the guy who is the main dude, the CEO, was a game designer for other companies in the past.
So he brought a track record, at least.
So he's very good at creating an atmosphere and coming up with stuff to do, but he's horrible at managing people, obviously, because it's been 10 years.
Oh, he needs you. You're good at managing people.
I know. Believe me, I've considered that as well.
You're like, I'm reaching out like, you can pay me in virtual money.
I don't know how long that would fly.
You have your ultimate ships.
They do have an office here in Austin.
You're like, all I want is the biggest, baddest starship to be called the Sir Gene.
That would be a pretty cool ship, actually.
Yeah.
Well, my pride and joy that I recently got in here is the ship's name is Ayn Rand.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it spelled correctly?
Yeah, it is spelled AYN.
Nice.
But it's all of my ships are based around characters in her books.
Well, at least you have a system.
I do have a system.
Everybody must donate so Gene can buy more spaceships. I mean, I'm just looking to buy food.
Honestly, you don't even have to donate, because if you use my gaming code, then that gives me points that I can use towards getting stuff.
You can find that on sirgene.com. I did notice for those of you listening on a podcast.
We'll even include it in the show notes for this episode in case people are interested.
Yeah, let me get that link from you. But I noticed on the satoshis.stream, which is a lot of people are using to get the sats for their podcast if they're into podcasting 2.0. They now have a way to split that, it looks like, between multiple accounts.
Nice.
So I'll have to see if that's if we can do that direct, then we can just send 50 to you, 50 to me, and everybody's happy. Automate that stuff.
Yeah, the big buku bucks.
That was we had like 7,000 sats in the last week.
How many?
7,000.
That's pretty good.
It wasn't bad. What I would like to know is if anybody that has a podcast or does online sales, I guess PayPal used to do this, but they don't do this anymore, because The biggest pain in the ass in all this stuff is going to be taxes at the end of the year, because I had to send Bemrose a W-2 at the end of last year, and that'll be the same.
Well, don't worry. I think we made less than $400.
Well, within the year, that for us, this show, that might be possible.
Yeah, I think that's what we're targeting is $3.99.
Stay under the right under that line. It's good, but I want to know if there's any payment systems, because I guess PayPal used to do this, does not do that anymore, where you could say, hey, I want to split. Like with PayPal, this would be great to say that for every $1 that gets donated to this show, to automatically split it before anybody sees any money. So that way the tax portion of this doesn't look like I got it all, and then I have to pay you as a subcontractor and then deal with all the taxes. If there was a way.
Yeah, but you could deduct whatever you're paying me as a subcontractor.
Oh, and I do, but that's just extra paperwork. And
well, there is a way. Like on my other show, I just don't give anything to the co-host.
Right. Well, okay, I could do that too. I like that idea. As long as you're the one running the donations account, it's like.
I also told people not to donate because I don't want to deal with it.
Right. Well, see that the more you tell people not to donate, the more they donate. We want people to support the show. We want to find an easy way.
Tell them if they really want to donate, they can send money to this show.
Which is why we thought like the locals thing would be an interesting way to go.
Locals seemed like it would handle all that crap very easily.
And there are so many moving parts and just things we don't.
I think the biggest thing about locals, I think it's an awesome platform for somebody that's doing a political show who has an audience that isn't particularly techie.
True.
And since a lot of our audience is inherited from No Agenda, and No Agenda's 80% of the audience is working in IT, they know what to do. People that for like locals for them is like, this is stupid.
But if anybody out there knows of a payment service or knows of a way to like hack it,
I think
and
Venmo
do something,
will do that.
Right. Well, if you know of a way that you can set up something so like every $1 that comes in from PayPal goes to 2 different PayPal accounts,
split up automatically.
Yeah. I would I mean, I can't believe that doesn't exist because there are so
Venmo
many shows.
Does that. I believe it does that.
Venmo?
Yeah.
Well, that might be what we can move to then instead of the main thing being PayPal donations.
Yeah.
If that exists,
just create a new account every time it reaches $400. Just create a brand new one.
Hey, I don't mind paying the taxes. I am not trying to evade the IRS.
You just want to not worry about the split.
Everybody just send cash. Don't send blankets.
Exactly.
Don't send water.
Just send water.
Just send
How did that come out of somebody's mouth? Don't send water?
I don't know.
Who sends water?
I don't know. But George Bush also says that the invasion of Iraq was an unwarranted.
He's right about that.
Yeah, talk about the truth wanting to come out.
Yeah. Well, I agree, I think, with Adam. I think right after saying that little fumble and laughing, he did say, well, that's true too.
Yeah, well, I think he was making the joke, but this again is where context and, I think in his mind was like, well, there's a lot of people agreeing with that. So, and he knew that was a funny flub to make. And when I met him, I think he seemed like a nice guy.
Can't leave the United States.
Yeah. Who wants to leave the United States, though?
Soon, a lot of people.
Well, true.
The way things are heading.
True.
Towards the toilet.
Hey, when I met George, he seemed like a nice guy. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I got a bottle of wine from him.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's like, get out of my state.
Get out of my state.
Welcome to my state. Get out of my state. I don't know. One or the other.
I think that he was better than the alternative.
Oh, I would agree. And he wasn't the fool that everybody made him out to be, but he talks Texas.
He is a little fooly.
Yeah. But he talks Texas. He's got that. He does that.
But I do make fun of my other co-host for that too.
Oh,
who also talks Texas.
That's very.
He said something blah 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 nuclear. I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
Nuclear.
Yeah,
so he said it.
I don't know
like
what
George.
that is. What is that word?
Nuclear. Nuclear.
It's how pronounced. Well, it's not how it's spelled, and it's not how it's supposed to be pronounced. So, what are you talking about?
See, I should listen to the show more. It's just people bitching about pronunciations.
No, it's just me bitching about pronunciation, not other people.
But this is nice. You invite people on and then you berate them.
I'm sorry. What is that in Australian? Your accent is horrible. What are you trying to say?
Be berated by Sir Gene. come on the show. But yeah, send in your applications.
Exactly. I'm taking applications. Be a guest on the show.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I think we're planning on having another guest soon. I got to tell you, dude, using these tools like StreamYard and Zencaster makes doing 3 separate people really easy because it just, either blends them all by itself or chops them up into 3 separate files.
Yeah. And there's a brand
you don't
new...
have to try and balance out the
audio, the volume.
Yeah, the levels individually for each person. You don't need to do the fancy setup that you and I have. You could literally just let the cloud companies do it for you.
The cloud knows all. And then there's a new Procaster, the new Rode thing. There's a version 2.0 coming out.
No, it's not out yet, though, right?
No, I think
I missed the announcement.
In pre-release that they announced what it is, and everybody's going all gaga about it. Adam was saying he wants one. Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was that far along. I know Adam mentioned it to me a few weeks ago, and he said, there'll be a new one coming out that'll be good. I didn't realize they had
I haven't looked at the specifics. I mean, it's very close to release. And the one thing they are talking about is that they did now put in the ability to make it more worthwhile for streamers. So processing and then sending the process stuff out immediately, which is the one thing the old one didn't do. It was all, well, yeah, you could do it. But then if you wanted the compression and all that, it was only on the recorded version, it wasn't doing it all live.
So what's the new one called?
I think it's just the Procaster 2 or whatever the Rodecaster was, whatever the first one was called. I think Procaster they just added.
2. Yeah, you're right. Because I'm on their site right now. Let's see, Procaster 2. Does it have a bigger screen? It looks like it might actually even be a tiny bit smaller,
which would be good. Well, my question is still,
the thing is like the Motu is a quarter the size of the alternatives.
Yes. Well, that was my still question. What can this do that the Motu can't? I know the Motu, it's
How
not
much
as
is this thing?
easy. It's like $699 still, I think.
Really?
Yeah. So like same price as the Motu that we got.
I
want to know what it could do.
One of these just to play with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty. I like
$699. Yeah. So it's $100. Well, it's $50 more than the Motu.
But it's like, what can it do that the Motu can't? I don't think anything.
Nothing, probably. Yeah. Motu's. If the sound is better, I mean, the 2 issues that I've heard from people, one is just quality on the Rodecaster is variable. Some people have
good
great ones. Other people get one and it's got a little noise on channel 3.
I believe it.
So assembly issues. And then the second thing is just like the preamps they're using are not as clean as what the Motu's using. The Motu's got super clean sound.
Yes. Yeah, I have no complaints at all with the sound of the Motu.
Yeah. It is professional studio audio sound.
Yes, it is not.
Honestly, we're also using the 2 smallest products they have in the Pro line.
Yes.
Because the M2 and the M4 are not the Pro line. That's just like consumer shit.
No, and that sounds really good. That's what Larry uses.
But they sound good too, yeah.
Yeah.
But the
nice preamp.
But most products that Motu make, their average price is probably around $2,000.
Yeah.
So and up. So it is literally products for building a studio out.
Well, yeah, because you have the ability to have multiple analog ins and outs. You can route anything you want, anywhere you want. You could do multiple mix minuses, which is one thing that still this device will not do. It's the only
product that'll do it right now.
Right. Well, this new Procaster 2, as far as I can tell, has one channel coming in for a remote guest or host, which means if you want to have 2 guests or 2 hosts and 1 guest, that's still not going to do it where the Motu can.
Yeah.
Right out of the box.
But if you're using Zencaster, none of this shit matters anyway.
Well, Zencaster will split all this stuff up into the multiple lines, as I believe the StreamYard does as well. We'll give you multiple audio streams to reassemble yourself. I just have not tested recently.
And if you're doing live broadcasting, then then you really do want a product that has real-time mix minusing.
Yeah. And especially if you have more than 1 guest or host. That would make sense. I haven't tested out Zencaster recently to see if the lag and the drift is all fixed.
There's no lag or drift. I've been that's what we mostly use for the other show.
Multi-track and there's no drift.
Yeah. Nice. And even with 3 guests, no drift at all.
I like it.
I did tell everybody to make sure they're on 48 kilohertz.
You do not want to have a sample rate problem. You do not. That's no good. No bueno. Well, everybody. I mean, we hope you have a nice, fun time for Memorial Day.
Yeah, absolutely. Eat some memorial food.
What is memorial food? Just like hot dogs?
I was trying to remember, what is it? It's hot dogs, right?
Yeah, it's like a barbecue holiday.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's a summer kickoff is what it is, really.
You can do whatever you want. I mean, we're not going to force you.
And also remember all the dead people.
Yeah. Remember that those who have given their lives. Yeah.
That crooked politicians started.
So you have some freedom, man. I mean, the people that do that job, when you're in the military, you don't really get the choice of going, I'll just wait. I'll wait for backup. No, we're not going to go in and save those kids. No, you don't usually hear those stories.
Oh, well, the police certainly do that.
I know. That's the problem. We need the military on the streets, I think is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But I'll be watching some racing. I mean, we've got the Indy 500 on Sunday and then the Coca-Cola 600. So a big day of racing.
Oh, yeah.
Go out, enjoy it. And celebrate Gene's birthday. We can just, if you missed it yesterday.
Do that for sure.
Celebrate, enjoy. Hey,
I put a picture of the Roadcaster up.
It's a beautiful thing.
We're not sponsored by them, and we have no idea how good it's going to work, but that's what we're talking about.
Hey, if they want to send us one or two.
Yeah, because, we're like an important podcast in the podcast universe out there.
They won't even send
people
one
listen
to
to
Adam
us.
Curry.
They trust us for advice.
They won't send one to Adam Curry, but I bet you they will send one to Bandrew if he wants one.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Yeah,
he is the guy, and he already talked about because people are like, hey, you're gonna do a review, and he's just like, the review would take me days, and in the end result would be 2 hours. So he's like, no, I'm not going to review it.
Review what?
The Roadcaster 2.
Oh, well, we can review it.
I would,
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I would. But it would take a long time. I mean, it's with something like that, a microphone, you
Wouldn't
can do
take
a
me
review.
very long.
You're like, it's just
too many buttons. It's got too many buttons. No good.
That I would love to watch that review on YouTube.
Well, you just heard it right there. I'm looking at it right now. It's got way too many buttons. You just don't need that many buttons.
It's a 45-second video with a 15-second intro and a 15-second outro.
Exactly.
Hi, this is Gene.
I did the button design for the Podcaster Pro that we did with Adam, and it had one dial.
Yeah, big dial.
And 2 buttons. That's all you need.
You want to just be able to button your button, Gene.
I have a more mature Apple-like design kind of perspective than clearly a lot of these guys.
You just need something that'll look good in your spaceship.
Also, what's the deal with physical, movable parts? All that should be is a giant touch screen, and you can move things up and down on it.
That's what the Motu is.
Which is why I like the Motu. It's a giant touch screen.
Well, and it's not even. It's only a giant touchscreen if you turn on an iPad or
which is what I have. I have an iPad running on that's emulating the Motu at all times.
But that's the best. Less stuff to break.
Yeah, I mean that. Other than the fact that it won't be available for another year, I don't know if you're in the loop on this, but Motu is not available anywhere right now. Our model.
Well, there's a lot of them that are. Not just
mine
Motu.
Model anyway. Either yours or mine, because yours is just discontinued.
Yeah.
Mine is not discontinued, but is not available right now. Because, Ben's been trying to get one and he's found it impossible. And the reason is apparently some factory that was making some part of it, maybe the motherboard, burned down. And so the company, which obviously it's made in China by some third party, but the company took a long time or has been, trying to find the replacement vendor. And, the estimate right now is that the first batch of the new products. Oh, and somebody wished me a happy birthday. Happy 35th birthday again, Sergine. That is great. Somebody remembered that I celebrate the 35th birthday every year. That's correct.
It'll just be another year of spreading
KGB propaganda.
Yeah. That's not the outro. We're still talking. Anyway, it's not available. It won't be available until the first quarter of next year.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, it's like, how do you not find a factory that can make them faster?
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like it's being done intentionally.
Ugh. And if they had a different replacement product, that'd be one thing. It's like, okay. So you ran out of the current one. You haven't made the new one. I get it.
Yeah, we have no product to sell you right now. Sorry.
No, just nothing. No product. Oh, well, if you want, you could buy the $2,500 one that does the same stuff.
And I want to know if anybody bought one of those Rode Procasters. Is there any noise
A lot
yet?
of people bought them. Adam, so I talked to Adam about this.
Yeah.
So he picked them up, both that and the Tascam or TX or whatever one.
Oh, yeah. They made one as well.
Yeah. So
and Zoom made one.
Yeah. So he bought all that just to test. And his extremely detailed review of that, much like mine, was, these all suck.
Yeah.
They're not really made for podcasting.
Well, no, they're made for, they're kind of taking a music mentality and.
Well, not even. What he said they're probably really good at, although he doesn't do this, is they're probably really good at, like, they're made for Twitch people.
But the last one wasn't, because it wouldn't immediately stream the processed sound. Which is what this one's supposed to. Yes, that was the biggest downfall. Even though it had the compression and all that.
Yeah.
It was not immediately bouncing that back out.
Just for recording?
Yes.
That's stupid.
Yes. Exactly. Which is what this one is supposed to fix. But I want to know with
the only plus of this thing is you get the Aphex oral exciter and the big bottom built in, because they bought Aphex when they went out of business.
Hey, that's right. And I am using the Aphex right now, the real Aphex. And to be fair, this thing cost about as much as that device in its entirety when this came out.
And I've got a dead Aphex, which probably could be fixed. The power supply's dead.
Well, you get that fixed,
but that was $1,000.
Yeah, the Aphex, what's it? The 204.
And this one, mine had a tube amp.
Ooh, even nicer.
Yeah,
even nicer. But I want to know, with all of those sliders, the faders, and the buttons, how noisy is it getting? Because usually those, if it's made
cheap plastic shit,
if it's made in China, I mean, I've had the Behringer mixers where after a couple of years that starts happening.
Cheap plastic shit.
The Allen and Heath, good stuff. That's not happening on the Allen and Heath.
Okay.
But if that starts happening on this stuff, it's going to make it very much.
Well, they come out with a new model every 2 years.
Yeah. Well, who wants to spend $700 every 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
But I was just looking for an MP3 player. I know this is like so 1990.
Very much.
But because my wife had a SanDisk Clip Plus, and the thing was bulletproof. It's very small. Battery lasts like 14, 15 hours. It's gone through the wash a couple of times.
Why don't you buy her the last generation of the iPod that they announced they're no longer going to make anymore? So the currently available one is the last one you can buy.
I thought about that, but when I found another one of these Sansa Clips in new old stock on eBay and bought it, it's like twice what I paid for the last one, but it is that particular device.
Yeah. So I was talking about Walmart, and one of the things I saw at Walmart.
Oh, you still might find it on the shelves at Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. What they had. Techniques record players for $180. I'm like, $180 for a freaking record player? That's insane. For what the hell? Who's buying this shit that Walmart is dedicating shelf space to this?
Well, those would be the record players that will just gouge out your records. Well,
no, not for that price. I don't think it will.
Yeah, those aren't bad. I know they came up with a USB. There's like a USB 90 and a USB 180. But I upped it to a Project turntable. And Project is coming out with a very cool looking Metallica inspired turntable. But it's like $1,600. So I don't know if I'm that into the.
See, my idea of like a turntable that'd be worth buying would be one that doesn't turn, that you put your disc on, it does a scan of it, and then plays it from memory.
You want the laser one, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But then you're ruining it. You're not analog anymore, baby.
Yeah, that's because analog sucks, baby.
No, you want the feeling of the needle in the groove.
You certainly do not.
You want the needle in the groove, that beautiful sound.
Yeah, the needle on the record.
I've got the ultrasonic cleaner. Oh God, those things make such a horrible noise. But you throw a little bit.
Ultrasonic cleaners?
Oh well,
Shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I don't think you understand how these things work. These things are loud. I mean, what they're doing. I've got
one. Yeah, I cleaned my watch with it.
Yeah, this one obviously it's a.
I got a new watch.
Rolex for your birthday?
No, I already had Rolex. No. I got a cool watch, man. This thing's awesome. It's a Garmin. What model is it? It's a Technique something. Garmin Tech.
This is riveting radio.
Tactics. Garmin. Well, I'm looking at the thing with the deal and the deal right there. It's the Garmin Tactics, but not Delta. I got the Model 7.
Well, then you should know when it's 9 a.m. and the show's ready to start from now on.
I did. And by the way, the reason that I was late is I was trying to get the video game running. Now, I wasn't actually late for the show.
See, your priorities are all askew, Gene.
I don't know about that. Why are they askew?
Because you should be ready, willing, and able.
I was ready. I was just trying to get the game running.
At 9 a.m. Central Time.
But this watch has freaking everything, man.
Will it make you breakfast?
It will totally make your breakfast.
Then I'm in.
Why do I not see it in here?
It's been discontinued. You bought it. So it's like, God.
It made one. Here it is.
Finally
Tactic
found somebody to buy it.
Pro Ballistic Edition. That's what I have.
Oh, so it'll stop a bullet? You just have to be able to put the watch exactly where the bullet's coming.
Get this. It talks to a laser rangefinder and calculates the proper bullet solution for you.
Really?
Yeah. This thing is got stealth mode. How many watches have stealth mode?
What is stealth mode on a watch?
I don't know, but it's got it.
It's got it.
This watch has a kill switch.
Oh, well, that I understand.
How many watches have kill switches?
Is it to kill the watch or to kill somebody near you, though?
Yes, it's to kill the watch.
But what?
I accidentally pressed it once, but luckily it has a 10-second countdown so I could cancel it.
And the whole house started to go through the
house blew up.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that was like, holy shit, that's awesome.
You have
This thing
initiated
is the
self-destruct
coolest
mode.
watch. Of course, it's got a GPS with a map on there, naturally.
Your home will implode in
Do
4,
stuff.
3.
It'll calculate all kinds of things for you. All the sensors you can imagine.
All of the
there.
sensors. Like
all the sensors.
Hygrometers and rodometers and
the quadrometers.
Yeah.
It automatically gets weather information from your nearest airport.
What is my nearest airport?
Over the air.
Way, way far away.
Well, if you're within the range of the airport, it'll pull down its info. It basically has a receiver just like you would have in an airplane.
This sounds like something a spy might have.
Maybe.
Somebody that might work for a 3-letter agency.
There's no such agency, though.
Or maybe more than 3.
And here's the best part. This is the most impressive thing at all about the watch. The battery lasts over a month.
Was it perpetual motion?
What?
Perpetual motion.
What about it?
Is that what it is? Is that how it works?
No, it's solar.
Oh, that's not as fun.
Yeah. But it's got a built-in flashlight.
Your watch has a built-in flashlight.
It has a flashlight. Yeah.
Well, I guess the watch...
it has a compass.
For the man who has it all.
Well, the man who has the watch that has it all would be maybe a better way to phrase it.
Is there an SD card in there so you can put your highly sensitive
16 gigs
documents?
16 gigs on the watch.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll calculate how much water and first aid you need.
You are
it shows
dying.
you stamina right on the watch.
Does it show your O2 levels and the heart rate?
It does do real-time continuous O2 monitoring.
The watch is like,
as well as heart rate monitoring, obviously. It does both of those.
You will be dying soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's for an athlete like me, this watch is absolutely perfect.
An athlete.
Got an altimeter, barometer, compass, all that standard crap.
But
maps.
did it come with a free Adidas tracksuit?
No, I had to buy the Adidas tracksuit. That's, that's the thing. I mean, it is insanely cool. When I saw this watch was available back at the center, I was like, holy shit, I need to get me one of these.
Ned wants to know if it tracks sperm count.
Does it track sperm count? If you are wearing a watch like this, your sperm count is 11.